welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk as Cloud9 ready themselves to take on second place TSM. Now, both of those squads are fielding some strong contenders for our Honda MVP. I do want to start on the TSM side of things. Spica in the jungle.
Let's go. So I have made it no secret that I think Spica is performing incredibly well right now, especially since during some of TSM's more experimental drafts, they might not necessarily put him in a position to succeed because they sometimes have losing lanes. And one thing I did want to point out is that TSM's lane control, which is the average share of lane CS, is actually the second worst in the LCS,
Really?
49.2%, but their jungle control is the fourth best at 51.4%. I think Spica does a really good job of controlling the jungle and helping them set up for objectives even when they do pick into these losing lanes. He is someone who's kind of evolved into someone who's incredibly smart and can react to plays very well. And I'm just really impressed overall with his growth over the year.
Also, Twitter game is strong. How much does Twitter game play into your MVP
You gotta
voting?
throw that in there too.
Right?
It's about
Fudge also
50%.
has a good
Okay,
Twitter
It's about
game.
50% of the vote,
that sounds fair.
Yeah.
That sounds like a
and if we're
fair
talking
spread.
about good Twitter game and good in-game, Fudge got you on both.
Okay.
Right? Okay, so Fudge, he hasn't been in ELO hell, but he's been in ELO purgatory, right? So they would not look
So we
good.
don't know which way he's going yet.
Yeah, we don't know way.
Oh,
They did
no.
not look at in the early and mid part of the split, but Fudge did, right? And there have been so many champions you could not give this guy. His Lee Sin top, his Viego, his Gwen. This guy has had top 3 laning stats in the league, including Alfari, top 2 if you remove Alfari, and has been doing that while getting less jungle help than the rest of the league. So this is nuts, right? Because this is a guy who in lock-in, he was a liability for his team, and now he's become one of the premier carries of the league. I honestly think if at C9 had a better split overall, people would be singing his praises as MVP, and I think even despite the fact that they haven't looked so good, you should still be singing his praises.
Hi, where do you sit on this whole MVP conversation? Particularly when we're looking at teams that aren't in that top spot. They're just outside.
Right. I think these are definitely both great choices for Spica specifically. When I look at junglers, one of my main criteria of like what makes them a good jungler is how often do they int? Because every jungler ints, some just more than others.
Right.
And more often than not, I don't really see Spica being in a weird position or doing something dumb. Yes, that happens because that happens to every jungler. But more often than not, he's in good positions, he's doing good ganks, he's not wasting his time. So he passes my test of like a pretty good jungler. So for that. And then Fudge, I was really critical on him when he first came into the league. I thought he sucked, if I'm gonna be honest. But now he's pretty damn good. Like Kaizen's saying, he carries a lot of games. His Gwen is nasty, his Lee Sin's fine, his Viego's good. Hopefully that can carry on to the new champions as these ones are getting nerfed. But he's been a damn good top laner.
All right, somebody clip out that every jungler ints thing for me so that I can just send that Twitch clip to my teammates solo queue after I give away a free kill. It has been very interesting to watch both of these players in their development and throughout their careers. But if we expand from just them as individuals and racing for that individual accolade, we also have to talk about the race for first and second place in the league. Don't forget that you get a first-round bye when it comes to the postseason if you do end up in one of those top 2 spots. TSM currently in control of one, Cloud9 looking for the other. That said, if they cannot reach 100 Thieves, which is still mathematically possible, yes, then it's just a battle between these two teams themselves, and you have to look at head-to-head. TSM leads in head-to-head 3-1, so even pending the results of this game won't make a difference in that head-to-head. Cloud9 will have to surpass TSM in total wins with only 4 games left to play.
They will, and I think TSM is favored here, personally. I think we're about to see them tie for first place with 100 Thieves, and overall, I think TSM has just been far more consistent across the board, right? You know, we've had consistent jungling from Spica, whereas Blabber has looked, not nearly as good as he was before. He had a great game on Xin, but it's Xin, right? So we want to see more than just how he performs as the strongest jungler in the game. And overall, I have confidence that TSM, even if they fall behind, they know how to set up around objectives to get themselves into winnable positions.
So the favor here for TSM as we hop into Champions Select, I'm curious where you two land on
I
this
also
matchup.
picked TSM.
Okay,
Win.
and hi?
Well, I picked C9, of course. Not because I'm
Oh, okay.
But
Oh, definitely.
one, I want them to win because I feel like when I want to root for teams that go to playoffs or teams that go to Worlds, I want teams that are exciting and have a high skill ceiling. I think C9 is definitely that team. Yes, of course they int. We've all seen Perks Renekton on him when he's not playing solo queue much. However, when he does start playing well, I think the team can do really well around that. If I'm not mistaken, when he played for G2, he has his own play style there too. And every team he goes on, he kind of defines how they play. So when he's on his game, their team looks really good, right? And then during Next Level earlier today when we were watching that, he spoke about how in the mid-season he stops playing solo queue as much so he can rest and take breaks and stuff like that. I think he's playing more now with the end of the season coming up. I expect him to be back on form, and then in turn that brings his team back up as well.
Yeah. So Zin is up and just been taken by TSM.
Between yesterday and today,
Yeah.
surprising amount of times Zin has been left up, and it will be traded for the
Oh,
Viego.
yeah.
Yeah, and I get it from C9's perspective. I mean, you know, Zin is the strongest jungler, but Viego is a pick that is a flex for them, and B, they're very, very comfortable with Olaf. You know, Blabber's, you know, maybe the best Olaf player in the league. So this is a classic scenario of, okay, we're just gonna trade OPs right here, or maybe trade one OP plus a champ that we feel really strong on versus an OP.
Well, I think Olaf is pretty strong right now too. Like we've seen him played in other leagues. You know, not to continuously bring up the LPL, but he's done pretty well over there. So I mean, I think it's a good pick, and I also think again, one of the things we've been critical of with C9 is getting Blabber involved in lanes early. Olaf, you know, he's still gonna wanna farm up, but we see that he has a really good understanding of when to come in as Olaf, and his team fighting with Olaf is typically very good.
All right, hear me out. What are your guys' thoughts on Malphite here for C9? What are you thinking here?
I mean, there's a lot of AD at the moment on the
There's
side of
triple
TSM.
AD.
I wouldn't hate
Yeah.
it. I wouldn't hate it.
It'd be pretty good.
I would hate it just because I don't hate the pick in a vacuum, but I think given Fudge's role in the team.
No,
right?
it's okay, fine, yeah.
Okay, wait, what were you gonna say?
No,
They
because I was
swap it
thinking you could
Malphite
send
mid.
the Malphite mid, but like,
Okay.
they haven't picked their thing yet, so you have to go Malphite top. I guess you can save it for 5th pick still, right?
Okay.
It's an option. You could 5th pick Malphite here.
Yeah, I don't see
Tossing that out there.
I don't see a Malphite ban coming through, so I think it is
Yeah, I
safe.
don't either, you know?
It is safe for them to hold on to that
I
pick.
think it would be good. It's a very situational
I
pick,
love the
but
Malphite.
that's how this game is, right? When you're doing pick and ban phase, you always try to see like what would be good in what scenarios, and I'm pretty sure Malphite would be pretty strong in this situation. You get Thornmail, they just can't play the game.
Yeah, I agree with you. Nameplate's taken off. I just think given the strengths that C9 has had, it's basically been around their solos. I think Perks is like he's had some int games throughout the split, but I think overall the last set of games he's actually been pretty good. So I think it's really important to just have your best players on champions who can pretty much carry outright. And I think Cloud9 has also looked really good when they've been able to put Fudge in his side lane with a 1-3-1, and he can do that to an extent onto the Viego. So I'd prefer he sticks on Viego or another split pushing champ.
I wonder if they'll go for the solo lane Kench, actually.
No, I'm so done with that. I'm so done with that.
Emily
champion.
still loves it.
I know you. I know you're
love
big
it.
on the Tom Kench, but I've had my fill for the day. Give me LeBlanc on the Cloud9 side, and I don't know what, like Rise for
For
Yeah.
And
TSM.
then Flex.
Well, for TSM,
Oh.
I think they can
Victor.
still go Victor.
Victor?
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Victor's good against Olaf because
Yeah.
you can kite him.
Yeah,
He just
exactly.
gets too fast.
Yeah, and it's just comfort for TSM. We know they like to play this, and you want a situation where you can just focus on Xin camping top, right? If you have the Jace, you really, really want to play around
Well,
that.
there's a LeBlanc ban, so
Yeah, so you just want to pick Victor, have a safe
TSM
lane,
hates
not
me.
do it for
Pick
fun.
Ziggs here,
I
see.
get it. I get
It's
it.
personal.
TSM, I get it.
It's
Actually, I
personal.
really do like the
I
Ziggs.
voted against them one time on this or
Pick
that,
Ziggs, pick Ziggs.
and they will never let it go.
Please, no.
No, we're going Boris.
All right, I like it. So
No.
far, it's just an AD
Leona.
battle between the teams.
Yeah. And I think I would like to see TSM consider Leona here. She's still one of the best supports. Allows you to double down on the engage and just provide more CC because there's not a ton of CC in the comp right now. Particularly assuming that they pick Victor.
Plus Swordart is just like really, I mean, it's obviously like one of his more comfortable champions. Yep, there we go.
Nice,
Victor, do it.
cool. There's still time for the Malphite though.
There is still time for Malphite.
I mean, if it's Victor, I mean, Malphite's kind of good into Victor, right? He slows down his auto attacks. Victor likes auto attacking, but there's no Malphite.
Oh,
here.
no.
It's not happening.
Ori.
Oriana.
Interesting.
All right, run of the mill. Pretty standard.
Yeah.
No surprises.
Yeah.
Zoe.
I like it. You give Perks a pick with like a ton of agency, Flex Viego top. I don't know. I kind of like it. Like I like seeing Perks on stuff like this where he just again like has a lot of agency to make plays.
You would outpoke TSM because currently I think Jace has better poke than Varus. However, it depends on who hits their skill shot.
Yeah. Hi. So as a mid laner yourself.
Haha, Ziggs.
Ah.
Oh no!
Hi.
The bait.
They just did it to beat you.
Yeah. I mean, Ziggs mid would have sucked. So to be fair, this is a better pick. But you were saying something about mid lane?
Yeah, I was just curious because normally I think we are all anticipating a Victor pick from Power of Evil since it's been one of his historically best champs. Obviously, Orianna is a control mage. It's not a huge difference, but why do you think they would go for Victor over an Ori here?
Why should they go for Victor?
No, sorry, why did they go for Ori over
It
Victor?
has better follow-up, because right now, if Leona goes in, who follows him up, right? Like, technically, Xin Zhao can, but it doesn't really do anything. So if Leona goes in, ultis, E's in, she has nothing to follow her, right? And that's really bad. At least Orianna gives her that, and it also gives Xin Zhao follow-up as well. Whereas Victor doesn't really do that. If you were to pick Victor, you'd have to pick a different support. Maybe like Alistar or something like that. Someone that's not all super all-in.
All right, real quick. You said TSM before draft. You still think TSM?
I still think TSM.
TSM?
I actually really like TSM's draft, so yeah.
Well,
All right,
I can't abandon
TSM
our prediction.
Cloud9 marquee matchup of the day. Let's head into the arena for the call.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift for Cloud9 versus TSM, teams that have met in the finals more than any other two in LCS history. This is the match you want to watch.
Ooh, a little level 1 here, but the word from Speaker should dissuade it, so I'm less excited now. But it's going to be a really interesting game. You know, analysts on the desk talking about liking TSM's draft. I do think one thing you have to keep in mind is how good Cloud9 has been on some of their champions historically. Blabber is 11-1 all-time on Olaf. He basically does not lose on this champion. It was a big part of his multiple, his MVP titles. Perks also, I would argue his Zoe has been historically his best champion as well. He's an over 77% win rate on it with 22 games played. Like, these are some champions that they have extreme comfort on.
Yeah.
And that can mean a lot in these types of matchups. They also do have, some pretty powerful poke. Varus plus Zoe, if you are landing your skill shots, that is a nightmare to play against, but TSM comfort of their own. Huni has been such a Jace player for so long. Sword Art, his Leona, is one of his most comfortable champions, and Power of Evil on the Orianna is going to have the ability to follow up and really take over in teamfights later on.
Alrighty, well, we got an early gameplay of Blabber being spotted by a deep ward. This is good by Huni. The early trinket ward came down from somewhere else, saw what Cloud9 level 1 was, saw the recalls, walked up and says, okay, we know what Blabber's up to, and they'll know based on this kiting that Blabber is doing a full clear, waiting for the health to get down below an auto attack. Efficient pathing there, always a fantasy junglers who can optimize around the burn. Burn will not kill a buff camp, so you wait till it's down below an auto attack, and then you auto the last time. Has already walked over to get the Q to leash the Krugs, all good stuff there. Has a very short trade in the bottom lane as Sven is fighting back for the wave.
Definitely don't want anything too extended against this Hailblades Kalista with the wave larger on their side here as well. So as you said, should be fully aware of what Blabber is doing, generally expecting just a 6-game clear here. We'll see where TSM is trying to go for these scuttles.
Nice bit of damage back and forth. Huni gets 3 attacks off and pushes Fudge back out of range. It's going to be a perfect CS for Huni. Looks like going to be 12 out of 12 on the first 2. See if Fudge can kind of keep up. He's already had to drop a couple because of the early landing phase of Jace being quite good.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't spend your health in the early levels trying to contest the wave too heavily against Jace. If you take too much damage there, you're not going to be able to actually farm at your tower where you're inevitably going to end up. So it is going to be a reality. You will have to miss some of that early farm, but Huni doing a great job nonetheless, and we'll see how much of this farm Fudge is able to actually pick up here.
Flash stun, but Sword Art's going to still be around, so is it enough to kill Lost? The anchor's not going to land because they've got someone else ready to tank it up, but Sword Art being rooted is going to be a bit low. Decent slow, but not enough cooldowns for the follow-through.
Oh, yeah, TSM able to walk it out. We'll see if there can be any sort of a fast push and punish on the late recall, because as of now, it's basically just a flash or nothing. They got no reaction out of TSM. TSM had the read that there wasn't going to be enough damage there, and when I saw that flash in, I was expecting more of just like a full commitment. Sven flash into, Ignite come through, really try to pile in and make it happen, but Lost did not panic. He had the cleanse available if that Ignite was to come through, and just calm stuff there from TSM. C9 will take the recall, will deny some minions, so that is the advantage that they get. They're probably going to deny 3 or 4 minions down on that tower, but that's not a ton. for the cost of the flash, which really is going to make Vulcan very vulnerable to potential gank from Spica. Like, flashless Nautilus against Leona and Xin, you're a dead man walking if you're overpushed.
Yeah, end of the day, I mean, Blabber had skipped Wolves to be down to bot side a bit sooner. He was almost in range for that fight. But speaking of being in range for the fight, Spica has come topside. Will there be a dive?
Well,
Vulcan was called over. Fudge had called. I need the help. Let's be here for the 2v3. Word comes down. I see Spica here. And they don't see the Sword Art in lane. This is a somewhat known 2v3, but now Blabber's here as well. Stealth comes in. Do you want to pull aggro? There's the anchor coming in. Is it going to be enough damage, though, as the sun comes across? Big damage on Sword Art. Has his flash, doesn't need it. Fudge has to flash and barely factors in the damage. Walking with his life, but with no health left.
Yeah, and unfortunately for him, he's losing all these waves. He will be able to TP back. Perkz is going to deny some farm mid lane, so there is a bit of a trade there. But clearly, the game plan here for TSM, focus heavily towards Fudge, get this Jace ahead. And yeah, Fudge will pick up a couple of these minions, but he went back to base 18 CS down, so the first buy is not that inspiring. Huni is going to have a much nicer buy for himself here. Grab the tier, grab a Doran's, another longsword on top.
Yeah.
And he's going to be sitting in a very, very comfortable position, especially with Fudge being down flash. You can't really even threaten the all-in anymore against a phase rush Jace. You will get kited out, so it's a tough spot for him, and C9's going to have to try to decide, do they actually want to focus on this lane and try to bail him out a bit, or is it just going to be good luck Fudge?
Sure. And you can see Huni really wants to go in. He knows what with tier, with the corrupting potion, he's against one health potion. Like, he can take these trades aggressively, and it's going to feel good. Fudge is flashless, does not have an X factor for making those fights look easy. Find the flash stun engage. So, yeah, Huni probably going to start walking over this lane. Well done to him. Good job the TSM getting there to make that help happen and kind of cement the lead. And now we get to watch the rest of it come through as Cloud9 still want to fight in the bottom side. Perkz and Blabber on the way down. They find the anchor again, but Sword Art has flash, and they're hitting back onto him. Vulcan a bit low. Bubble's not going to land. Vulcan almost dying to what could have been a Q run, but it put him at 100 health. Ultimately not going to matter here, and these roams have not turned into kills. It has been an action-packed game, but it's 0-0 still.
Yeah, C9, you know, they saw that TSM was backing off because TSM has great vision in the river. You know, they have this whole kind of like line of wards along here, multiple pinks in the river. So they saw the roam coming, and that is why Vulcan went very early.
Nice timing by Huni. Saw him channeling the stun. No, there's no way he finished that kill. Yeah. Like, Huni has the option of figuring out when the trade goes, and then without flash difference, you're actually just dead. If you get that wrong at all, Fudge is always dead, so no ult in. Again, good knockback by Huni. Basically gets to cancel what the stun would have been. Doesn't take any auto attacks damage, keeps that 17 CS lead.
Can be opportunities, but without the flash, it's always tough, right? Because, you know, if he uses his knockback on your W, then you ult on top for the slow and you can follow in. But without flash, you expect Huni to flash that, and then things can look pretty difficult. So, TSM looking good in the early levels, have built themselves a small gold lead here. Nothing too crazy, but I'm going to be interested to see, you know, when and if Cloud9 wants to try to move towards early dragons. That's kind of been the bread and butter for Blabber. Anytime he's playing Olaf, you know, you can expect to see him stacking that. But the Kalista kind of throws a bit of a wrench in the gear. You know, you have that losing 2v2 on bot side, which makes it very difficult and dangerous for him to actually move towards soloing those early dragons. And
again, you can see Blabber and Vulcan have come topside because they waves out of the turret. And if Spica is there, that's tower dive, they've got to cover. So again, time is spent to cover Fudge so that the CS lead is only 20 and not also 3 turret plates and a kill.
And that's tough, right? That's good laning by Huni. That's good follow-up by TSM to extend the advantage. And now you really do have to make difficult decisions, right? Because Olaf is much more of an early game jungler. You want to be able to run the map, utilize this early game power, but if you just fully abandon Fudge, well, if he's losing the tower, he's going to be useless the whole game.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you go up there and all you really do is cover. You can't actually make the plays happen yourself because you're Olaf and Viego against a phase rush Jace who has flash. So he's going to be able to kite you out.
And at the end of the day, it's not like Blabber's losing camp specifically. Like, his farm is still fine. He's already bottom side when the bot camps come up, but he hasn't been able to invade. He hasn't been able to combo with his bot lane and go into deep ward the jungle. Sorta in this spot's going to be in a rough one here, but because support can come around, okay, they buy the time for the Fates call. So cool, he gets to face or force an ultimate. Finally gets to go for a dragon. This is the first proactive thing Blabber's been allowed to do this game because of Huni's pressure, and it will mean first dragon goes to Cloud9, suffering a 500 gold deficit.
Yep, and I kind of like the TP, honestly, from Perkz. Perkz was either just going to TP back towards mid lane or go there. This way he kind of guarantees that they do secure it, and he runs back to mid lane, loses no minions there either. It is going to be the trade on the top side, though, for Herald. And when you already have the winning top lane, Herald is just that much more valuable. The tower is already getting softened up. Is easily going to be a first tower here for TSM with just a little bit more damage from Jace.
Yep.
So TSM is going to have, heavily winning top side, and it's going to be up to Cloud9, on the other side of the map to really kind of swing things around to try to find advantages. They have cleaned out some of the vision in this area. You can see him walking forward and sweeping to try to set up for the potential dive here with Blabber, and we'll see if they want to commit to it.
Level 7, level 4.
They got the
Cleanse
cleanse,
pop.
big.
Lost has no ult. He has flash, though. Vulcan has aggro from the champions. Now the turret. Gonna walk back, stay alive. First blood comes through on his Ven. How about the rest? Sword Art left alone, half HP.
Oh.
And Perks takes him in from downtown. Double kill out of the turret. Cloud9 are on the board.
Man, that was so well done. They knew the Fate's Call had been forced in the Dragon Pit. That is down. They used the early Varus ult, get the cleanse, don't immediately start the fight with that. So they're spreading it out, waiting for that cleanse to be used, waiting for the CC reduction with that to be gone. Then they go in, they set it up, they lose no one, they kill two. They were always going to lose the tower on top side, so really nicely done by Cloud9, but TSM still, making good on this big advantage that Jace has built up, dropping the Herald there, and Huni is going to be an absolute menace.
Yes, he is. I mean, that's so much money into him. The CS lead is 38. It's massive. Watch that again.
This is just really nicely done. So you force out the cleanse, you wait it out, then you get into melee range here. They're trying to buy as much time as possible. Vulcan pulls aggro with the ignite because Leona CC'd him out of range. So if you don't actually ignite to pull aggro there, someone else has to pick it up. So that was just juggled very, very well. Vulcan grabbing aggro with the ignite, moving out to max range there, buying as much time as possible for Blabber, as well as Ven to finish him off. And then when Perks arrives, they get that next kill.
Ooh, that is a big shockwave, though. Perks is slowed. Phase rush not available on his side. And Huni gets the shock blast, as you mentioned. Perks could have flashed it, not going to come through. And look at that. TSM still have a 1,000 gold lead, almost all of it through top lane.
Yeah, I mean, that's a clip's already done. Like, this Jace is monstrously strong. And I like him just moving around the map. Top lane is frozen, so he goes mid, he finds the kill. They're pushing on this tower here, trying to extend their advantage, trying to move their strongest member around and really get the most of it. And I just think Perks didn't see the shock blast coming. I think he would have, flashed, the next Q probably coming through from Orianna, but didn't need it. Shock blast arrives, does end up going down, and they get the reward of 3 plates off the back of that. So this gold lead is extending. But Cloud9 still in it. Bot lane's in a great spot. Olaf's still going to be in a pretty good spot. And honestly, Perks should be sitting about even in gold because he has that additional kill. So it's up to Huni to continue extending that advantage.
The CS lead is about 40. The freeze has, kind of cut that in half. We'll see, of course, what happens. Clearly, yes, the roam to mid was very good. He got a kill. That's all really, really nice. But at least the farm got just a little bit closer. It is 8 turret plates to 1, though. That's the count. 5 top, obviously. 3 in mid, as we saw. Almost a second for Cloud9. They can auto that once or twice and kill it. But yeah, Fudge is on the back foot. He takes the scraps that Huni allows for him as the CS lead goes back under 30, shoving in the wave.
I mean, just the inventory between these two top laners is just depressing. It's full of clips with Tyr, Doran's Blade, everything. Yeah, all Fudge has scraped together basically, is that phase. That's all he's really got going for him. You can see that Cloud9 was trying to threaten a roam up here. Perks and Vulcan were moving up the river. They want to defend this area. They need to keep the jungle safe for Blabber to keep power farming. Olaf needs to be playing with pace in a game like this, so they wanted to make sure his respawning camps were defended, that his red buff was there for him. Huni, understanding this, backed off, but at the very least, they keep the jungle safe.
They do. Now, the Mythics are coming across. Right, we've got 3 in already for TSM, just the one from Blabber here on the Cloud9 side. The next dragon comes up in 45 seconds. Spica would like to take this camp away as they fight for it. Smite comes through, Blabber gets 1, gets a second, and I think losing maybe 1 or 2 small Raptors, not the worst thing, but again, dragon in 35 is what we're looking at here.
And they're looking for mid tower here first. It is pretty tanky, though. You don't have a Herald here to just kind of clap it down. And C9 responding appropriately, have been matching the moves from TSM, but I've been really liking what I'm seeing from TSM this game. They've been moving around the map well as a team. They have been extending advantages where they can, and they've been exerting the pressure of this Jace very, very effectively. So,
good stun. Summoner heal pop. Zhonya's hourglass, a stopwatch, but this man is absolutely dead. Perfectly timed. Wind becomes lightning from Spica, and everything belongs to TSM here. Perks just doesn't flash any skill shots. The button's not on his keyboard. Maybe if it was on F, it'd go a little bit better, but Apparently not going to do it here. Dragon is absolutely earned by Spica, and Sword Art setting up that kill and claiming their reward with the Dragon afterwards.
Yeah, and that's what I expect him to react to, right? You know, that was the Solar Flare, I believe, actually started up. So, you know, you can flash that for sure. When he does not, the CC chain was perfect from TSM, so punishing that mistake well means you not only lose your life, you lose that Dragon that you were trying to stack towards. You lose control on this bottom side, so TSM can push it up, and Fudge basically just has to kind of back it up. You know, all you can do is really play for the farm.
Yep.
It's also a stopwatch down, so it's like, you know, it's a lot.
It is a lot. I mean, he stopwatched at 300 health, but he just don't live through that one. You're always dead, so a waste of an item. He's not going to have the early Zonias, so that's, you know, one more thing wasted. Kind of sucks to see, but we are in a game that is still winnable on both sides. TSM clearly feeling good. Their lead on the Jace. He's got his cooldown boots. Muramana's going to be next, of course. And overall, a nearly 2,000 gold lead as Dragons are tied. We've got the Mythics coming through now, so yeah, 4 on the one side, almost 4 on the other. Lost the one man, doesn't have quite enough farm just yet, but we'll have that one done soon.
Sword Art here again. He's gonna. Oh, that's
perfect timing. Stun, Shockwave follow up, and Perks is knocked down again and again and again, and the turret's next.
Control Alt Delete. Sword Art. What an ultimate. That was flawless there. The timing, picture perfect.
I'm going to fight in the top jungle, though. Big damage. Ulti's across. Nearly lives. Yes, Gore Drinker keeping him alive. Speaking, not going to be sniped, but it will be Huni. The biggest gold lead in the game is going to drop right away. Can't get the fight to happen, so Cloud9, they don't need Perks. They just need the Fudge factor.
Yeah, that's a pretty big kill. That's going to try to get Fudge a little bit more back into this. I'm not sure if there was actually a farm bounty or not on Huni. I didn't actually catch that, but either way, they're going to be able to get Herald off this. Lost will get some gold in his pockets, which is going to be pretty nice. But TSM has just been relentless towards that mid lane, have been punishing Perks non-stop. He has been dying, and all 3 deaths have come without him using his flash.
That's true. I mean, really beautiful by Sword Art, of course, to be in the right place at the right time. You got to give him credit for it, but
sick.
I know. Like, it's a bunch of really good plays and, you know, some mistakes from Perks as well, right? But it's still some really, really good plays from Sword Art.
And it feels like this one is less on less a misplay and more an outplay. Like, the timing is just so good. So let's watch this one more time. Yeah, I mean, it's just like instant. Maybe he could have insta-flashed if he was mashing it, but that was so well done there from Sword Art. They get the kill. His roams towards mid lane have been deadly. TSM has had full vision control in that bot side to enable it, and Blabber barely able to get out. Spica has to flash the Varus ultimate coming through, and Huni has no flash available here, so Fudge getting the kill gets him back into, you know, being a lot more relevant. Yes, he's still down in farm, but he got the kill. He has his Mythic. He has his tier 2 boots, so Fudge is a threat at least now.
He's stacking up the armor. Sadly for Power of Evil, only assists on his name, so the magic damage threat is not terribly fed. Sure, very good CS. That is typical Power of Evil. He's really, really good at clicking minions. He's very good at team fights, and he's on, I think, his absolute signature champion, the Orianna. Definitely like it more than his Syndra, and that's going to be only a slow, and this time Perks is able to flash, gets away from the Zenith Blade.
Yeah, had to flash there. Still, good play from Sword Art. You know, we're trading flash for flash on the mid laner there. You're going to be feeling really good about it, especially because they have some pretty good backline access.
Oh, I love it. Shockwave comes across, but Perks, no, not going to go down. He's going to stay up for this one. It's to walk it out.
Power of Evil there, trying to make his own big play, having on the Shockwave. But they didn't have the follow-up, you know, to actually finish him off, so it ends up not really being that great for TSM as the flash is down. I like the aggressive moves here, though. You know, TSM has been pretty heavily criticized, I think, for often being a passive team, and they're trying to show that they can have these aggressive looks, even with what is, you know, a comp that has that scaling in the mid lane, that has the comfort of this control mage.
And now TP to the top side as Fudge coming around as well. Perks jumping in. Can he get the Drowsy? Waits it, and Huni's like, look, I've probably got to flash this one. I can't reliably do it on reflex, so preemptively get away. Nice play by Perks, burns the TP, forces Summoner out, but not much more, just a Summoner for the Summoner. As the top wave is pushed in, Diego's going to recall.
I think it's pretty good, though, you know, trading your TP for Flash there, because Jace wants to play aggressively in the side lane. Like, that is still the biggest member right now for TSM. And with Flash down, you actually can't overpush. I mean, they just don't have a lot of vision in this whole area. You know, Cloud9 has established some defensive vision in this ring. And playing without Flash, over-pushing against an Olaf, like, you will die. The phase rush is not going to be enough without that summoner available. So it will limit Huni for these next couple minutes.
End of the day, it is going to be TSM claiming the Dragon with their gold lead. Cloud9, I think, wisely saying, all right, we're out, but they have gone for the cross map. Now, Huni, nicely done, grabs his own blue buff, kind of identified the top is going to be a pressure point, but Blabber is here, Herald is summoned, Blast plants it away. They're saving it for the second turret.
Can they kill it before? No, okay, they can't, so it doesn't actually matter. It would have been cool if that actually ended up playing out that way, but we'll see if they want to try to walk it in. I think they do, because Vulcan has moved up here. But another Dragon going down. Fudge is playing weak side. He's got to be careful.
Shockwave, but he's got his ult. He's got move speed, so it's not going to matter much. Power Field is kind of churning through short cooldowns. Looks like the Herald will not be shot on the weak point, so it is going to be some damage. They don't go for more, though. I don't know if it was really going to be diveable, but with so many TSM resources on the bottom side, there's a possibility, I suppose. It's a flashless Jace. Maybe they could have looked, but
yeah.
I don't think they had the word control to know it was safe.
Exactly. I don't think they had that full vision. You know, when you're looking at their bot side jungle, like they have really no eyes in this area, so I don't think they were sure, you know, how many TSM members are over here looking to dive Fudge, how many members are actually responding to that top side play. With perfect vision, maybe it's something they go for, but of course, in this case, they did not have it.
And we get to just knock down some minions some more. 3 assists there and a 30 CS lead on Blabber. He has been able to farm quite well as now a full level up on Despika. Olaf can be a decent fighter, but if the front line can hold, he's still going to get burned down by everyone else.
I like the Executioners here for Spica, as there's a lot of self-healing.
All right, dive on in, decent damage. Perks out of the way for the stun. Huni getting dropped low. He's going to kill, but it will be traded back. But now Sword Art is left alone, flashless and being chased down. This will be a double kill for the Olaf, 2-1 Cloud9.
And you got to get a little bit nervous now as TSM when Blabber gets rolling on the Olaf. Has only lost the one game on it. This guy is a menace on this champion. Perks playing that one pretty well with the ult back into the paddle star to get the damage down before he went down to Sword Art. And, you know, Sword Art gets that kill back, but it's gold onto Leona and it's the double kill on Olaf. So obviously, Cloud9 can be really happy about that one.
The gold lead shrinks to only 2,000. Is TSM favored? I do like the team fight, but right now, Cloud9 have managed to work their way back into this one. Next Dragon comes up in 3 minutes. Baron is up right now. Sterak's Gauge is done for the Olaf. Should make him a pretty good frontliner. Will survive a lot of it. Has not been able to stack a lot of defensive stats other than that bit of health, but he should sustain it reasonably well.
Yeah, the self-healing will be cut by Spica with that Executioners. You know, I think when you're against Viego, when you're against Olaf, it makes a lot of sense for someone to invest in that early. I like that Spica was the one to do it. And we'll see, you know, if this next Dragon is going to be where they contest, because Olaf with that early 2 items is really, really strong. So when you're looking at kind of comparative power to the other people on the map, this might be as good as it really gets for Olaf right now, when not everyone has those items coming through just yet.
No sleep. Shako gets mostly just the wave. Blabber pulls aggro, but it means that mid lane tier 1 is not going to die. Instead,
didn't give up an inhib.
Yeah, top tier 2 is under fire. They're splitting the map. Cloud9, they get bot out, they get mid outer, but yes, this is tier 2 and tier 3 under fire. The inhib turret will die, and they are walking for the inhibitor itself. Looks like it will be given up. Vulcan to look for Hook afterwards, but that is a lot of turret gold gained.
Yeah, and I don't think there's going to be any extended play. You can actually see Sword Art is in the jungle here. He's marking Cloud9, trying to track them coming up. Perks is extending forward, but he's on his own, so I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't think there's going to be anything from it. It is interesting. The early inhibs are good if you can pressure elsewhere, right? If they can use this to try to get something like that guaranteed next Dragon, then I think that can really pay off. But early inhib, if you can't threaten other objectives on the map, ends up just funneling gold into your opponents. So it can be a bit of a weird situation. TSM, though, still in the advantage. They have 2 Dragons to their name. They're up gold. I want to see them to continue to extend this and look to set up around this next Cloud Dragon here.
But I really want to snapshot the fact that we are up 1 Dragon and up 2,000 gold on the TSM side. If they can't play around top and it really just feeds gold in, that's going to be, what, 10 waves at over 100 gold each?
It's relevant, for
like,
sure.
Almost 200 gold each. Like, that in itself is the 2,000 gold lead if you can't manicure top yourself. for a single dragon, it puts you on soul point. But that's not intrinsically that valuable. The next fight after that matters, and that's after the gold lead gets potentially shrunk.
And that's why you have to hope they can take over the jungle. They can get a tier 2. Blabber maybe going down.
Ult to become unstoppable, and indeed runs away. Cannot be disabled. Nicely done there.
That's big, though. That means no dragon fight for Cloud9. Ulti down, Sterix popped. I don't think you actually look to contest this as Cloud9. They take the tier 2 as well, so they're going to take away some jungle camps. They force out some cooldowns from Blabber. So this I really like. I agree. If all they did was sit back and actually go for that dragon with the pressure on top side, not worth it. But TSM is getting aggressive. They're getting vision in their opponent's jungle, and now they're using this to transition over towards the mid lane here.
They get the ulti on a Kalista. Lost will burn the cleanse. They get a second route onto Spica, but they're going to be okay. Flash Hook's going to find one. PoE flashing away to safety. Vulcan very low, but not down. Huge shock blast puts Perks almost in a coma. He's going to go ahead and give one back, but it's a really short catnap. The dragon's going to be able to be claimed. Lost cleans up mid lane. And in the meantime, Fudge is just farming the top lane, trying to close the CS gap. But as bot lane tier 2 dropped, as mid lane tier 2 took damage, as the dragon is claimed, TSM are keeping that gold lead healthy and strong.
Looking pretty good here. Fudge is closing the gap, though, you know, trying to get strong himself. And I think, you know, there's no reason for him to move down. As soon as Blabber had his cooldowns forced, I don't think you want to move in and try to actually contest the dragon anymore. So Cloud9 just try to defend with that 4-man squad, try to pick up as much gold as they possibly can here on Fudge. They do a pretty good job of it, but it was a good shockwave also from Power of Evil. It kind of snapped Vulcan, it looked like, out of the hook. So there couldn't be the follow-up passive auto route there. Otherwise, he could have been in trouble himself.
For sure. 2.3 thousand, the gold difference as bot is cleaned up. That's, I think, the 4th, 5th, or maybe 6th wave killed by the supers. That is indeed TSM not farming it, but pressuring elsewhere on the map. That's going to be the bubble hitting. Decent damage here, but Baron wakes up. Sword Art, and he walks back away. Dragon Soul in 4 minutes, and now...
Olaf's coming.
Yeah, Fudge wants it here on a Huni. Eclipse Shield is popped. There is Olaf, and he's like, I'm flashing. And Blabber wants it anyway. Lands the Q slow. Huni no longer has escapes. Burns the ult for the attack. Damage immunes the slow and takes the kill. So TSM, no jungler means time to look at Baron. Fudge can TP, make it a 4v4, and Olaf is on his way over. Can this fight happen? Cloud9 not even pulling the trigger on the teleport. They say, we can stop them anyway.
They got Varus Zoe. This is so tough.
Ult is a lot of poke. Spica is going to burn the ulti and run away. Cloud9 identify, yeah, we can stop you 3v4, and they are right.
Yeah, that was actually so smart from Cloud9. Because you have Varus Zoe, those champions are so good fighting from red side against the Baron there. You know, just going over the wall into the pit there makes it incredibly difficult for TSM to hard commit. You know, you take an arrow or two, a paddle star hits, that can be really dangerous. And TSM did have some Nexus turret damage that went down. I didn't see exactly how much. It looks like the turrets
like
are
75?
still pretty healthy then.
Yeah.
So Cloud9, you know, winning out on both sides. They're down only 1,000 gold now. More gold being funneled into them with these supers. Aren't able to really, you know, get a big advantage off of the commitment to that bottom side play. And Huni not only dies, but he spends the flash, which means, again, he has to play defensive. He cannot be that big split push threat for the next 5 minutes.
And since Huni's big roam to the mid lane where he picked off Perks, he has gone 0, 3, and 1 since then. And that one assist was part of a 1v2 that TSM lost. The big lead on TSM has not been successful. They have not been able to convert this Jace to much of anything unless they can finally, you know, turn around with the Dragon Soul, but the gold lead has shrunk. I said I was going to look at it. It was 2K. It is now 1K. The Dragon has been claimed, but they traded 1,000 gold for a Dragon, functionally, and now we're back into this state where Cloud9 are more ready to fight for the objectives.
You can see Sven almost has the grudge completed here. Fudge is working on his GA, so Cloud9 are getting their items up here. You know, Fudge is kind of slowly but surely closing that gap between those two top laners after what was a really rough start. They're showing Perk spot, but he does have TP, so TSM do have to be wary of that. You can see it's a lot of focus on getting vision in this area. You know, kind of 3 pink wards all in this little quadrant here for TSM, and they're trying to push forward and clear out more and more of these wards. Very clear that they want to go before the Baron, but it is actually so tough for them to take Baron, I think, without first winning a fight against Varus Zoe.
Well, Snipe come down on the minions. They're going to find the first engage. Big damage on the Sin Jab, but the Gordon keeps him alive for a while. Still Speakable drop, and it will be Fudge healing back up and looking for another one. 1-4-0. The TSM frontline cannot hold up to Cloud9.
And Cloud9 could potentially look towards Baron if they want here. I mean, the enemy jungler is down. would be an aggressive move, but that Shock Blast changes a lot. Sven very low at this point, and we'll see if Fudge wants to try to wrap around here. He was spotted, doesn't know it.
Okay, has flash, no ult, gonna make the engage pretty tough. Poke down a bit by Power of Evil. The mid lane was cleaned up, and hey, we've got Dragon in a minute, so this is the call. Recall or get off of this side of the map. As Fudge is gonna stay and basically say, you know what?
He wants GA.
Yeah, and he has TP. This is the exception to the rule. If you got teleport, you don't have to hit recall at 1 minute. You can hit recall at 30 or 40 or something, and he's actually gonna keep pushing in bottom lane right now, but he could be attacked pretty soon.
Yeah, I think he must really be close to GA gold. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. Staying out on the map this long and even pushing for the extra additional wave, as you said, you could end up being attacked there. So we'll see if he can actually get back to base, get there with the GA. Stopwatch picked up on Blabber. The Grudge was completed there for Sven. So 3 items through on jungle, on AD. If GA completes as well, that's good. But
oh, wow, good damage. Both pokes hit. Just not the sleep, but it puts Speaker down to 1/3 HP, and good luck, buddy. The late recall came in from Fudge TP.
That was a misclick. So he started TPing, I think, before his recall completed. I think he was trying to finish his recall.
Yeah.
Insta-click his buy and TP, and he started channeling the TP early.
Oh, they're going to try to fight without the Guardian Angel. He has a stopwatch, and he's got his ulti up. Is that going to be enough? They've got to try to stop Dragons on the Cloud9 side. Ulti's going to go wide. It's all about the Varus poke and the Jace poke. Pretty good from both sides so far. Half health on a lot of people. Speaker wants it. He can charge. He can charge and smite, and it's not going to happen. Blabber claims it. Sword Art burns the stopwatch and then gets pulled right back out.
With them that low, Cloud9 could just go towards mid. They could even go towards Baron. Will they go for it? I mean, you saw multiple members with no health. And there are assist pings from TSM towards the Baron. Cloud9 is moving up there. At the very least, they'll clear out some vision. They could just try to set up a trap if they're not willing to actually hard commit to it. Because fighting in towards Baron through Zoe is so tough.
Ward's down, fight started. I correct myself, stopwatch is still up for Sword Art, just Fate's call used, but they are hitting this one. Smite is going to be available in time for Blabber. Almost anyway. Look for the poke, not going to find it just yet. Careful, Perks at half HP, 4K health from the Baron. Hooney's on the hunt. Flash going to get away from the Q, and now they're going to go for the fight. Big knockabout a lot, but he's out of range. Shotgun's not going to mean much. Gordinger keeps the front line alive and a stopwatch for Blabber, but his Sterix was up, so he didn't need that one either. But there we go, a dive in. The Leona looking for the best they can. Fudge going to go ahead and find the fight on a Speaker, and he will go down. A double kill for the Olaf, and it's time now for Fudge to keep the heal going. Cannot find the jump in on Sinzhao. It's going to be TSM. We're able to walk away, but a 2-for-0 and no jungler alive. No smite for Blabber, but a 5v3 means a Baron attempt. Yeah,
they're going to go right back to it. Perks picked up a flash as well from that, so he has the ability to look for a big play here for the sleep. It's up to Hooney, it feels like.
They don't like this. They don't like this without smite up. The health bar's at half HP. This is how they lose the game and get collapsed upon
afterwards. Looking for the turn.
They're going to try. Look for the sun. They get lost. He cleanses, jumps away, stays alive. Fudge going to take not that much damage, but Sven and Blabber are low. Locket burn for nothing from Vulcan as they walk away from Baron. It's a reset.
Yep, they got to reset here. If you stay out too long on the map and TSM does revive, then they could look for a counter Baron play. So they know they have got to go for the resets. The GA does come in now. Thankfully for Fudge, the miscue on the teleport was not punished. But still, now in the gold advantage here is Cloud9. TSM slowly losing their grip on this game. Hooney tried to go in straight up there for Perks, but Perks actually flashed the Q, and Blabber just got so much work done, going so far into the fight, getting very aggressive. The stopwatch was really high value, and then Fudge just flashes in with the Zenith Blade after picking up Leona's body, forces Power of Evil out. They're able to push forward, building enough space to actually take down the Xin Zhao as well.
And the gold is basically tied. Cloud9 have brought themselves right back in, and it's a 6-0-3 Olaf for Blabber. That man does not want to lose on this champion. Olaf only dies to a worthy foe, and apparently TSM are not that in Blabber's eyes.
Power of Evil, though, getting really strong in this part of the game, because that is kind of the ticking clock on the side of TSM. Is TSM's gold advantage has been sliding, but Power of Evil has the ability to take over in the late game. He's 3 items plus the Oblivion Orb now. And Olaf will be at more risk in this fight because he didn't finish the GA. His stopwatch is gone.
A little damage there. I like that one. Jump over with the ulti, rocket belt, land an auto. Okay, cool. People are at about 2/3. Feels good.
So Hooney is just committing to the split push right now. And so as a result, C9 are going to try to force Baron to get out the TP. That is kind of what you're looking for here. You don't need to hard commit to the Baron, but you must get Hooney to move or TP.
He's running.
And if they take too long, the Baron could just get finished, right? Because Sword Art is getting low, and look at Perks' position here. He has a great spot.
Spica's nowhere close to in range, 4K health. They can stun him and probably get him out, but Fudge doesn't want to dive in, even though he has Guardian Angel, so now it's going to be jumpable, smiteable, and they're going to wait. 3K health still. W times out, but the ball gives vision. They're not going to go for the smite. They're going to go for the rest of this battle. They're going to find the hook, and this is stopwatch use. Fate's Call is up and pulled. Now time for the re-engage. Big damage, good stopwatch, but Blabber is godlike. Blabber cannot be stopped, and Blabber finally falls, but it was to start the team fight. 3 dead on TSM, and Cloud9 are going for 4.
Oh, and they're going to get it. Lost is gone with that sleep landing. Honey pushing out the waves, trying to get as much done as he can here. But the punish there for the missing flashes on TSM was very, very big. Vulcan hooking in onto Sword Art, and he gets the ult onto Power of Evil, who had no flash available from that previous fight because he actually traded flashes with him. And now C9 back onto the Baron here. They don't have their jungler.
TSM only have 2, though. They can do the rest of the damage before Spica walks into range, but Huni could have heroics. Gets Sven to half HP.
TP. He's TP flanking.
Okay, here we go. Can they find the Hex Flash anchor? When does Vulcan channel? He begins it now. Huni gonna find one target. There you go, in for the damage, but careful, Sword Art's around as well, and Huni's just too big. They're gonna find the 2 kills. Baron can be burned, and it will be claimed, but is there a way out? Sven flashes. Fudge is waiting for Result to come back, hiding in stealth. Needs just a few more seconds. There you go, over the wall he goes. So the 2 went into Mark to stop Huni. Baron claimed for 2.
But that's Soul.
Yes.
It's not worth it. You know, you give up those 2 kills. Perks really mis-executed on that TP play there. You know, ulted when he's on top of Huni's here, always going to snap back, and he didn't have enough damage to actually get the kill. He missed the sleep. So you do get the Baron, sure. Maybe that's a positive gold trade for now, but you gave up the permanent power of the Soul. And TSM making a critical play there. Huni hanging around, getting the kills for his team. Sword Art arrives, and that is big for them. Cloud9 do have more power right now with the Baron, but we'll have to see what they can really get done with it, because they need to get a lot of these tier 2s to kind of get that gold injection for it to have been a worthwhile play.
The surge of golden XP. They're going to get Sword Art here, but careful, reinforcements are on the way. Lost is going to get him out. Not a problem at all. 6 kill difference remains the same. Obviously, Cloud Soul is quite nice. And C9, with a 600 gold lead, are going to be fighting back a Cloud Soul here. Still with the Baron power play, looking at it. Good stun on the front line. Blabber going to wait on the ulti now, burn it, and that's just a leash, and Sword Art dove in on an Olaf. That man's not dying. He's got Sterix. It's not going to do anything. He's got Guardian Angel. That is never the target that you want, and so off they go. Let's siege. Let's 5v4. A flash to safety from Lost. This turret's going to fall.
Yeah, this turret is going to be gone here. They have that Baron up cannon as long as they can keep that alive. The next wave is coming in here. Baron buff still available for 120, so they got a lot of time. This could potentially be the push-in for that mid lane inhibitor with Varus and this Zoe. It's very, very difficult to actually wave clear successfully without getting poked.
Here we go. Red Bull Baron power play means mid lane tier 2. It means mid lane inhibitor turret. It means Vulcan's in danger and falls. Support's overstepping, but it will trade back as Spica's dead. PoE just gets away as Sword Art respawns a 4v4, but you're missing a jungler on TSM's side. You're still against the Baron, but oh my. Okay, Perks gets the stopwatch, buys some time, diving in with the Olaf, looking for everything they can get, but they're gonna live. Guardian Angel is popped, though, and this might not be enough for Blabber. Oh, he gets one, but maybe kited out by Power of Evil. Guardian Angel will not land at a target, and he's able to walk away. The damage isn't quite there.
Shock Blast!
Knife gonna miss from Sven. Shock Blast gonna go wide as well. Middle inhibitor, though, still down. The Baron timing out in 25 seconds, and Cloud9, if that ult lands, that's probably a kill outright. Blabber is at about 3 HP. They gotta get out. They gotta recall this one. The Baron is timing out. Huni, can he find the heroics? Minions in the way, will not get any more.
Yeah, going to be able to back it off, and now it will be about this Elder potentially 340 until it does spawn. Man, this is an exciting game.
Yes, it is.
Freak. TSM C9 absolutely delivering. Sword Art's scoreline hasn't been amazing, but I feel like he has been playing so well. He has consistently been catching Perks throughout these team fights. You know, has been on point with a lot of the ultis, and Cloud9 are largely relying on Blabber in these fights. He has just been so strong on the Olaf, but now without the GA, it does get more risky. More and more items are coming through here from TSM, and they're getting to that point where you'll have enough firepower to potentially just not really care about the sustain from Olaf anymore, to maybe just burst him down straight up.
Yeah, Lost is on his way to his next few components, has his own healing cut now himself, but he's on the way towards Armor Pen. And once that's Lord Dominic's, the extra damage against people with a bunch of bonus health, which, hey, by the way, Blabber has a lot of, that's going to do a lot. Now, Blabber, by the way, is done buying items. Heck, the Chempunk Chainsword is in for his Grievous Wounds option, and the Olaf is no longer going to scale.
Yep. And Zhonya's being completed for Power of Evil is such a big deal, because that's really the only answer you have if Blabber just flashes on your face, is to go into stasis. So that being there is huge for Power of Evil, especially because he is without his flash right now. So you're pretty much good as dead without that item. And LDR is through, so Lost looking really, really strong. It's going to be down to the execution. How much poke can these teams land? I mean, Cloud9 has these two members, and that is a big sleep, but I don't know if they can follow.
No, there's no way to do this one. You take too much damage, you go for that damage from Fudge. It's not going to happen. The team at least backs off, though, and it means top lane tier 2 will fall. The Baron has fallen a while ago. The buff's no longer on, but Cloud9's still able to find some of these sieges, as both teams have killed an inhibitor at one point in this game. Mid is still down, and Fudge is able to actually grab the farm that's in mid. No longer for XP, but the gold income is going to matter. He's still got one more item slot to fill.
Yep. I mean, Hooney's up 100 CS, but who cares anymore, because he's capped out on items, so the gold isn't really going to go anywhere at this point.
Weird that he hit that wave, actually. Like, why not let Pee-wee hit the entire thing? He actually waved through that, and for nothing? Get a better shutdown?
I think the only thought process is in a lot of these situations, they're just more concerned about shoving the waves as fast as possible to be able to move forward, to contest vision, to try to have their minion wave out there just kind of as a scouting tool. But I agree. You don't want to be taking this gold if someone else is there to grab it, because you don't really have anything to spend it on unless you're willing to sell your boots.
It's 190 gold and like 300 XP just deleted off the map. No one got that. Literally no one got any of that. That could have died to Nexus turrets, and it wouldn't change a single thing about that. So I do dislike the assignments here on TSM's side. Oh well, though. Spica takes a little bit of poke. Sven still has pretty good damage out there. Has his own Serpent's Fang. Good against Orianna. Good against Shield Bow. Stun's going to find 2. Cleanses 1. And Blabber going to survive on the other half of it. Still a good stun. It's a much longer cooldown, that cleanse. Baron's up in 12 seconds.
Absolutely forcing that out. Cloud9 has been trying to play in their jungle to deny vision, to deny access towards this Baron pit. And they are going to be looking for it. TSM, it's a very dark and scary place here.
Spica down to 1K. The front line again pulled back. Fate's Call almost always there for Sword Art, but it is a major cooldown that is not going to be available.
Baron is dying.
And now it's the hit onto Baron. Does TSM get to walk up? Where's the bubble?
So.
Where's the other poke? Where's the Varus? Okay, through the bottom side, the TSM special. But are they going to be in range in time? Down to 2K health. He's not going to be there. Vulcan buys some time. Smite is early. There you go. Claims it, but it's a 5v4. Is a fight that Cloud9 even want? Oh, wow. Spica could have ulted. He didn't. He dies to Zoe.
As Sven almost going down that shock blast as well. It's the rush towards Elder. They're going to try to force here, I think, on TSM's side, because it's a 4v4, but Sven had to base, so they have a small window right now, try to get the spear stacked up, try to use Hooney and Power of Evil to zone.
I think it's the right play. Can TSM do it, though? It's a question. They're TPing in mid. They're TPing mid. It's Cloud9 saying they can end the game, while TSM tries to take the dragon, and just like that, TP is channeled, PoE is out. This Elder Dragon should now always go Cloud9's way, but they're going to go for the game anyway. They've got both solo, so here comes the rest. It's going to be Hooney teleporting down as well. One turret is gone. Nearly the kill on the Fudge. Zonya's forced for perks, and Hooney's got the damage. Hooney's got the kills. Meanwhile, Varus is down on the other side. It's Olaf versus the world, but he's got too many javelins. The 1,000-pierced Berserker falls as Lost takes the kill, and TSM get to own the map.
Cloud9 tried to go for the hero play and end up absolute zeros. The inhibitor respawns, they both die, and TSM on the march now. At the very least, they get Elder, but they're playing for the game end. 40 seconds on Blabber, 30 seconds on Perks and Ven. No way Fudge and Vulcan can hold this.
Let's go for this one. TSM trying to end the game right now. You got Speak coming in soon behind. Bottom inhibitor turret is down. Inhibitor itself under fire. You got to play for the Nexus turrets themselves, but the reinforcements aren't here for 10 seconds. They clear out the
They're
wave.
going.
There's 4 minions left. They're going to dive in for as much of it as they can. They get the Guardian Angel down. They get 1 single kill, but it's traded back. Still onto the turrets. Fudge going to try his best, but Leona doesn't deal damage, and the Nexus will fall every single time. It's a banger, and TSM are 4-1 against Cloud9.
What a finish! TSM, the perfect response around the Elder. C9 thought they had checkmate there. They had the jungler available. They're on the Elder. They commit 1 TP. It's matched only by 1 TP from TSM. They did not overcommit. It's just the one going back to match. I really liked that they didn't immediately panic, send everyone back, because that would have been a free Elder for Cloud9.
Yeah.
Instead, 1 goes to match. As soon as the second comes in, Huni's back to match as well. They win out in the 2v2, and guess what? They win out on the other 2v2 as well. It's outplays on both sides from TSM.
Yep.
That game was a banger.
Yeah.
That one was so much fun to watch. Very back and forth. I'm sure the Cloud9 are going to want that one back. Definitely did not end how they wanted, but TSM just straight outplayed them in both 2v2. They handled that so well, and I think it's easy to look at that and criticize and say, oh, well, why didn't you just commit to the Elder? But there's supers in the base.
You have Baron buff.
They feel like they have the Baron buff. They could actually go for this, and
Yeah.
just didn't work out.
Didn't work out. TSM are tied for first. Congratulations on getting it back. After the break, we're going to be taking a look at our new standings and breaking down that match with the State Farm Analyst Desk. See you there.
Decorative towel.
There was a mess. I wiped up a mess.
Yeah, you.
Where is the bus? Never mind, I found it.
When game day is a go, there's a Bud Light there.
Welcome back to the LCS and the State Farm Analyst Desk, where it seems that every single time we have Cloud9 and TSM out there on the Rift, they deliver. An exciting game.
It doesn't matter what split, what roster, what area of the multiverse we're in, it's always a banger.
I don't understand how it ends in the fashion that it does. Both of these teams looking and for different angles throughout the game, trading team fights left and right, skirmishes, only for it to end in an attempted base race of sorts.
Yeah.
Blocked by the inhib, it's brutal.
We'll talk about how TSM got in the position that C9 got back in this game later, but here I do think if you're gonna credit TSM for one thing, it's something that they've talked about. There are some very decisive players on TSM, right? And so they do trust each other enough that whoever is making this call to TP back as soon as they see what's going on and split with Elder Drake there, you know that that's communicated well enough for them to be able to execute.
Yeah, and I think we can give them even more credit than that. They looked so aggressive this game overall, right? Like this early game started off with TSM constantly setting Sword Art and Huni mid to camp perks, and PoE constantly setting up those ganks with his ult. So, you know, we've often talked about TSM being more reactive, more controlled, more looking for opportunities to punish mistakes. But here, they were creating openings for themselves constantly.
Right. I thought this game was a very well-played game from both teams. You definitely saw each team having a game plan going into it. Hey, we want to focus top. Hey, we're going to tower dive bot in return. I actually thought this one favored TSM. They get the huge lead onto top. They kill the turret, and you only get 2 kills down here and a couple of waves. It wasn't that great in terms of like the trade for C9, but this showed consistent throughout the game where they both had a game plan. They're willing to trade turrets, they're willing to trade money and accelerate the game. So I really like the macro of both teams.
I think the one big mistake, if I had to point it out, that TSM made that C9 was able to capitalize, because you look at the way the game is playing out and you're like, how is C9 suddenly, you know, back into this? And it's when you take that top lane inhibitor, C9 were really smart about it and they're like, okay, well, we're just gonna freeze the wave. When you take an inhibitor that early and you're just constantly watching waves like shove in overall, they weren't able to get any damage on the Nexus turrets. Like TSM weren't able to pull them away from that entirely enough for it to do any sort of damage to their base. And it actually ends up feeding C9 a bunch of farm and XP that they were, you know, they were otherwise missing. So if anyone's wondering like, how did the game get this way? Like that's one like subtle thing that you kind of have to decide, like, are we gonna take this inhib? Should we just leave it up and take turret and kind of leave it out there? Obviously it's also the top inhib, so you can't leverage it as well for Baron if you're gonna be doing that. We did see them get the Drake stacking in from it, but didn't.
LS had big praise for that inhib take on Twitter.
You're being sarcastic.
No, not in the slightest.
I actually liked the inhibitor take. If I'm not mistaken, it's taken around 22-30. That's not an early inhibitor. An early inhibitor is pre-20 where you can't actually do something with it. Granted, it is the top lane inhibitor, so like it's closer to Baron, yes. But 22 minutes into the game is not that early for an inhibitor to die. I thought it was fine. I'm pretty sure they got a dragon and a couple towers off of that. Yes, you're missing out on some creep farm, but it's not like TSM was just AFK, right? They got dragons, they could pressure Baron. Granted, it's harder to do, but I don't think it is the worst thing there. I think it's definitely good to do.
I kind of want to return to that point about the TSM lead and recontextualize how exactly it materialized. We saw the play itself with the Rift Herald top, the gold that was injected into Huni, but I think something that a number of other LCS teams can struggle to do is how to extend that top lane lead into other lanes.
Yeah, and you know, what you can see here is that the moment Huni takes top, they pull him mid, right? They want to shift all the pressure that they have to affect the rest of the map. And there's multiple times where Perks is getting camped by Huni, getting camped by Sword Art. And this shows what TSM is particularly good at. It's making sure that Sword Art is in a situation where he's not having to sit in lane, where he can roam around and affect the rest of the map. And this puts C9 in a position where they don't have vision control in their jungle. And now you're worrying about a Kalista, a Leona, and the poke from Jace constantly hitting you from out of vision. So I really love this look from TSM overall, and it just shows you don't necessarily need to draft in a way that's hyper-aggressively to play hyper-aggressive, because they still had control mage mid. There's a lot of stuff that we typically associate with TSM's wheelhouse, but the way they played it was different.
I think that's where we get into the proactivity versus aggressiveness, and this is really good proactive, right? If you're ahead of tempo, if you're creating that for you. It's also something that I do want to point out Huni has been historically good at, I think, is understanding where he needs to be on the map to convert his pressure if he does have a top lane lead. And in fact, something he's been criticized earlier in his career, much earlier, is that he would sometimes give that away to force plays, usually bot, but sometimes mid. And I think this is a good, recent iteration of Huni where he's obviously working well with his team. He's always going to look better. A player like Huni, who does want to help his team out so much, is always going to look better on a team that communicates very well. And then additionally, this is what you do. If you have that massive topside pressure, transfer elsewhere on the map, get stuff elsewhere early is a great example.
I mean, a fantastic early game lead as compared to the rest of their summer split here for TSM. But now I kind of want to open the question back up high to best team in the league. Tied with 100 Thieves now in terms of overall standing, taking a win over another top team is TSM. What's your take on that?
I think it's definitely possible. The way I see it right now, the top 5 teams, there's some that are worse than others. I'd argue Team Liquid is probably lower on that spectrum, similar with 100 Thieves, whereas EG, TSM, C9 are definitely super strong right now. Whether there's a clear number 1 between the other, I'm not sure. Especially with this game, C9 won that game as long as they didn't do the second TP onto that Nexus. The first one was amazing, but the second one to follow up on that threw the game, and had they not done that, they would have won the game. So it's hard to say TSM is the clear number 1 when they get gifted this game, in my opinion.
I think TSM have the better mid game, but I think Evil Geniuses have been, despite some of their issues, and I know people are so weirdly down on them even when they're doing well. I do think similarly they have a really strong understanding of how they want to play. They communicate well, and they typically are able to make the most of the way that they set up on the map with a 1-3-1 or a 4-1. So it's definitely between those two teams. TSM do have a better mid game though. It's hard. It's hard.
I can see the struggle in all your eyes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to push back on one thing. They did not get gifted this game. They took the game, gave it back, and then they were like, give me that back, right? So on the point about best team, I think it's really close, 1A, 1B. We just did just see EG beat TSM, right? And they beat them in a fashion that was atypical for EG. It wasn't them snowballing early game. It was them playing a really solid mid game. So EG slight edge, but really close.
Well, whether or not they are the best team in the league, TSM is now tied for first. And it's time for us to step away. On the other side, though, Freaks delivering another scalding installment of Rock Hat Rate My Play before Evil Geniuses try and play spoiler to the CLG Miracle Run. Don't go anywhere.